A lot of the youth that we see come potentially from trauma backgrounds. They've also been where maybe they've never been heard, and it allows them that opportunity for some to actually feel like they're being heard for what might be the first time in their lives.
Serena Hoke partners with Jackson County Juvenile Justice, providing mental health treatment and services, supporting the youth in the detention and residential programs. Why is having mental health services important when helping a justice-involved juvenile?
I feel that having the mental health services available to these youth is beneficial in a variety of ways. A lot of the youth that we see do come potentially from trauma backgrounds. They've also been where maybe they've never been heard, and it allows them that opportunity for some to actually feel like they're being heard for what might be the first time in their lives, and to be able to be seen without being judged. When I work with these youth, I don't see them for the crimes that they committed or anything like that. I see them just as another individual that I'm sitting with that needs some guidance, some support. And for a lot of these youth, it's the first time maybe they've really had that as a positive support for themselves.
Explain a trauma-informed approach. What does a typical backstory look like?
So trauma-informed approach is being able to go in with the assumption that the individual we're meeting with has a history of some sort of trauma. We don't always necessarily know what it is, but that there's been some sort of exposure to trauma in some way, and then taking the steps to basically provide them with a space to feel safe, to feel empowered, and to move towards healing. The backstories are from one end of the spectrum to the other. It can come, there's no specific lifestyle, there's no specific race, there's nothing, that seems to really say that this is why this kid is here as far as that comes. What I do see a lot of is I do see a history of, again, that trauma piece tends to be huge. It could be anything from abuse, from physical or sexual abuse, to growing up in situations where they didn't have stable housing or it was unsafe.
How do you help affect change and define success?
Change, I see, is always up to the individual. I always tell these kids, I'm not the one who's going to change you. I will help you change, and I'll provide that support to them if they see themselves wanting to change. And sometimes it's even getting them to the point where maybe they never thought about change before, and then all of a sudden they're seeing, I don't want this to be the rest of my life. I'd like to be able to do something with my future that doesn't have me being stuck in a concrete locked building for the rest of my life. So, when a youth is able to identify that, I kind of work with them on setting goals and helping them see what they would like to build for themselves in the future. And success can vary. Success sometimes could be just getting off of probation. I'll hear that from a lot of the youth is, I just want to get off probation. And that's where they see, they're able to get out and complete their probation requirements and then move forward. Sometimes it's what we call harm reduction, which is maybe they're not, for example, with substance use, if previously they were using a lot of different substances, maybe it's reducing it down to just smoking. While it's not something we want to see necessarily, comparatively, it's not something, it's a lot better to be able to reduce that